안녕.
I haven't recorded a video in a long time, so I kind of forgot how I normally start these things. So we're just gonna go with the flow because I have a lot of thoughts and I need to channel it somewhere. So here we go. Normally I would like write a whole script and then just like record based off of that. But this time I don't have a script because it takes a long time and quite frankly, I can't be bothered. I really just can't be asked. So I'm just gonna wing it and hope for the best. So recently on TikTok and Instagram especially, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about how they are discovering that Studio Pierrot, which is the animation studio that was responsible for animating Naruto, Naruto Shippuden, Boruto, and like a bunch of other animes as well. People are discovering that apparently this studio has been low-key setting Sakura up for failure. People who only watch the anime and for some reason, I guess, not for some reason, but people who only watch the anime and then decided to go and read the manga, they discovered that there's a lot of discrepancies between the anime and the manga. Like certain scenes were removed, certain scenes were added, shit like that. And then they started realizing that, hold on, she's actually not that bad. And we have been in a genjutsu this whole fucking time. And turns out all the Sakura hate was like overplayed and overdone, and actually she didn't deserve all of that. So that got me thinking as well. I was like, hold on, is that true? Because I only watched the anime and I only read like half of the manga. Like I read Shippuden, I didn't read like the OG Naruto. In Shippuden, I think I only read up until like right as the war arc was starting, and I kind of just stopped because like yeah, I moved on to other things. So I went to like do a little bit of research to kind of see like what people have compiled together and just talk about like what these discrepancies are. Does that make sense? What these discrepancies are and like if it actually holds any truth to it. Because if that's the case, then that's peak. Okay, so I found this post on Reddit, right? Thank you, Reddit user. And they kind of just compiled like a bunch of differences between the anime and the manga. So let's just go through that together. Okay, firstly, none of this is like in chronological order of how it happened throughout the story, but that's chill. So the first one is taking place in the Chunin exam. And in the manga, we can see that it shows like Sakura is concerned about Naruto. She's like, oh no, like this test is like the worst kind of test for Naruto. Like he's worried. Like she says, this must be Naruto's worst nightmare. He looks absolutely crushed, as he would be because they're about to take a paper test and that is not his strongest suit. And then before that as well, like she sees him shaking in his boots and shiver me timbers and whatnot, and she goes to comfort him, but turns out he's just like shaking with excitement about getting to face off really powerful opponents because I don't know, a lot of protagonists are really into shit like that. That also does happen in the anime because I rewatched like this scene to like confirm that this Reddit user is not like just chatting shit or all these people are not just chatting shit. But yeah, that does happen. What they're trying to point out is that in the anime, what Studio Pierrot did is that after Sakura says, oh no, this was like the worst possible test for Naruto, she giggles. She's like, oh my god, like this is like the worst test for Naruto. Like, evil bitch. I'm kidding. Yeah, she didn't do that in the anime. She wasn't giggling and praying for his downfall. And granted, this was before she knew that if he gets 0 points, they're all fucked. They're all screwed if he doesn't pass this test. So it's just like, why would they show her laughing at him when they're supposed to be a team? Like, it's adding like just these little things that just make her seem more like a bitch. But that didn't happen in the anime. Or, I mean, in the manga. Right, so that's that. And then the next one is taking place further into the Chunin exam. So this is when they're like in the forest of death. And I'm pretty sure at this point they had just, well, not they as in Sakura and Sasuke, had come across Orochimaru. Terrifying motherfucker. I rewatched this arc and I'm sorry, Orochimaru's introduction scene, that's fear. Okay? That's some scary shit right there. But anyways, here it's showing that she's defending Naruto. It's like, Naruto, you may be, she says like, Naruto may be nothing like you. She's talking to Sasuke. He's clumsy and he holds us back. Okay. Right. And sometimes he's a big nuisance. Damn. What point is this user trying to make? And sometimes he's a big nuisance, but at least he's got guts. Naruto's no coward, right? And okay, I'm not exactly sure what points Reddit user is trying to show here, because me personally, yeah, this scene, both in the anime and in the manga, because I read the both, they equally pissed me off because, like I said earlier, Orochimaru just got introduced. Sasuke had fought him. Sakura was there. She didn't really do much in the fight, but she was there to witness the horror and the terror that is Orochimaru, right? And then she has the audacity to start calling Sasuke a coward because he was saying we needs to run away. I think he was making a very smart tactical decision because he deduced that Orochimaru is significantly stronger than all three of them combined. And let's be honest, in the beginning of Naruto, Sasuke was carrying that team on his back. So I don't know who she's calling a coward, and I don't know what point she's trying to prove here, because this scene was equally irritating both in the anime and in the manga. Because if Sasuke is such a coward, you do something then. No? Okay. Just gonna skip and move on from that. So this next two posts, so this first one is still in the Chunin exam again, and this was the part where the test organizer, I forgot his name, the guy with the scar on his face, was basically saying that there's going to be one last question, and if they fail, you can never take the Chunin exam ever again. But then if you raise your hand and decide to like forfeit the exam and stop here, you know, count your blessings or whatever, you can come back next year and try again. So then Sakura was like, I don't have faith in Naruto whatsoever, so I'm going to take one for the team. Sasuke and Naruto can hate me, but at least we get another chance next year. Which honestly, I think that's a very reasonable conclusion to come to. And same thing happened in the anime. She was like, nah, I can't let this slide. And she's about to raise her hand, but then Naruto does a whole like grandiose, like, I'm never going to give up because that's my ninja way, datebayo, whatever. So we see here, you know, she's caring. She's a nice gal. She's a nice gal. She's just trying to do what's best for Naruto and I guess what's best for the team. And then here as well, this was during his one of the fights in the Chunin exam. I believe this is when he was fighting Kiba, right? Yeah. That fight was kind of lame. I cannot lie. What do you mean he won because he farted in his face? Don't piss me off. Anyways, we see here that, you know, she's cheering for him. I think what this Reddit user is trying to show is just like she's cheering for Naruto. Again, there's no comparison between the anime because she was also cheering for him in the anime. She didn't make any snarky remarks like right after cheering for him. Same thing happened. So I don't know what the difference was between the manga and what Studio Pierrot did. But I think it's just trying to emphasize the point that Sakura is actually a nice gal, you know? Okay, this one was actually kind of peak. Because in the manga, okay, so this was during the Land of the Wave arc where we later get introduced to what's his name Zabuza and Haku, but this wasn't when they were here yet. This is like at the beginning of the Land of the Wave arc when they first get attacked by these like 2 or is it 3 of them, the random ninjas or whatever. And in the manga we see that Sakura actually do be doing shit, you know. She like threw herself at Naruto to like push him out of the way of like this massive fucking shuriken knife whatever weapon. But then in the anime it didn't happen. Like it just didn't happen. I think Naruto just like jumped out of the way. Now, I don't know if it was just like trying to save budget on animation, because let's be honest, animating this scene of like someone pushing someone out the way, that's a lot. But also, like, it's like, oh, why'd you take it out though? You know, it's again just one of those little things that could have just added a little more something to be like, hey, maybe she's not that useless, you know? But yeah, that's just a bit of a shame because one of the many complaints that people have towards Sakura is just like during fights, she just be standing there, you know, not really doing much. Like, damn, throw a punch, throw a kick, throw a kunai even, do something. And in the manga, we see she did do something. Not a lot, but it's still something. So yeah, this is one of the very like more direct. That's not the word I'm looking for. Blatant. This is one of the more blatant comparisons of Studio Pierrot changing what happened in the manga. Okay, and then this one is the last comparison before we move on to Shippuden. And this, know about this one. All right. So this moment is probably one of like the most brought up moments when people talk about why they dislike Sakura. She made fun of an orphan in front of another orphan, blah 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 blah. We all know the joke. And what this user is saying is let me just quickly read it. Sakura is toxic because she made fun of Naruto for being an orphan, which that's a pretty shitty thing to do. Anyways, she regretted it the second after Sasuke rightfully called her out and even opened a therapy center for war orphans. Ino Fatshim Choji, Shikamaru was a misogynist. Neji misplaced his anger on... Neji misplaced his anger on... Misplaced? Are we sure?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I wouldn't say he misplaced his anger on Hinata, because if we're being honest, Neji was a slave. You know what? Let's not get into that. Let's move on. Blah, 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 blah. But no one ever called them out. They were all kids. They all made mistakes. Okay. So what this person is trying to say is that she regretted her actions and she shouldn't be held accountable. What am I saying? That is not at all what this person is saying. Sorry. I was just spitting out lies straight through my teeth. Okay, what I think this person is saying, right, is that, you know, they're all kids, they're all young. We all say dumb shit when we're 12. And as long as we learn from those mistakes and regret our actions, it's fine. And honestly, yeah, I do agree. Sakura regretted it after Sasuke called her out. Now, would she have felt the same way if it was anyone other than Sasuke that called her out? Because Sasuke is the guy that she has a huge crush on. So she's going to take everything he says more to heart, right? But that's besides the point. From this point onwards, she never made that kind of joke towards him ever again. No, we're not counting the movie Road to Ninja where she's being insensitive about him not having parents. That movie is not canon. I don't know why people keep bringing on movies. They're not canon. Whatever. We're just focusing on the manga and the canon episodes in the anime. Now, this is what happened in the manga, right? And then what Studio Pierrot did afterwards was that, okay, this scene happened. It happened pretty much exactly the same. Like, I just rewatched it to make sure I'm not like spouting bullshit out of my ass. And then afterwards, like, Naruto pulls up to Sakura again and is like saying like, oh, like, hey girl, whatever. And then she's like, oh, smile. Like, I gotta like smile and be nice to him now. And the smile is looking a little bit forced. It's a little bit forced. Now, I might be wrong. I don't know if this actually happened in the manga, because like the website that I was reading manga on, it didn't show it. Granted, I don't know how like accurate it is because it's not like an official manga reading website. So some pages could be missing. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but I couldn't find a manga panel that like lined up with that scene of her like forcing a smile. And if Studio Pierrot just added that on their own whim, I got one note. Why is she forcing the smile? I get that you're not going to switch up immediately from being like mean to someone to like suddenly being nice, because that's very much giving two-face. But did she have to look that forced, you know? It could have been more of a grimace. That was like I'm being held at gunpoint, and if I'm not nice to this dude, I will get shot in the face. I'm just saying. Was that necessary? Whatever. Moving on. Okay, so the next panels that the Reddit user had posted was just scenes in Shippuden that showed Sakura being like compassionate towards Naruto, which, I don't know, that was never like, at least to me, that wasn't something that I feel like Studio Pierrot really removed from her character, because I only watched the anime first, right? And I never had the thought that she hated Naruto's guts. Like, it was pretty obvious that she still cared about him a lot and still, you know, loved him as a friend and whatnot. Like, okay, so let's just go through like the post really quickly. So this was after the 5 Kage Summit and Sasuke had gone full on crazy, like whatever, rightfully so. And she's just talking about how Naruto has gone through so much for you, blah, 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 blah. No matter what you did, he never stopped thinking about you as a comrade. Okay, cool. She's like standing up for Naruto against, you know, the guy that she's like full on in love with and stuff. Good for her. Stand on business. You should have stood on business when you had that kunai with poison in your hands. Should have stabbed him in the back. But we move on. And then this next one is just like, I don't exactly know what I'm looking at. Like in the manga, Sasuke is just holding his katana to Yamato's like what is it? It's his neck. And then Studio Pierrot, she just had Sakura standing there for no reason. Yeah, whatever. Funny, hilarious, crazy. This next one is just her being, again, comforting towards Naruto, because at this point, Sasuke just disappeared into thin air and left them alone again. Mind you, yeah, you see Sakura. She stood there, is just a single teardrop on either side of her eyes. And then behind her is Naruto on his knees, shaking, trembling, bro, because Sasuke just left. Guess which one of them marries him at the end of the series? Did you say Sakura? Because that is the correct answer, but look at the state he's in, bro. Oh my days. Sasuke, come collect your man, bro. He can't live without you. Moving on. Okay, so I think this is before, like, early Shippuden, before they saw Sasuke, and this is when Naruto like lost control of the QB, because Orochimaru was like, oh, Sasuke is mine and Sasuke is this, and then Naruto went, don't talk about Sasuke like he's yours in front of me. Okay, Homotron 3000. Anyways, and then we have Sakura healing him again. She did do this in the anime as well. Studio Pierrot didn't just remove the scene completely, didn't like just get rid of her healing him, because he would have died. so I don't really know. Yeah, this still does happen in the anime. Studio Pierrot didn't really change it. I don't know if they changed the dialogue maybe, but even then the main point is still there. And then this was during the war arc. Again, I guess this is showing like, yes, Sakura is a very compassionate person and she's very caring. She's a great medical nin, and she literally saved Naruto's life here again. It happened in the anime as well, in the war arc. I remember watching this scene and like feeling queasy because she literally shoved her hand into his chest and was physically pumping his heart to keep him alive. Crazy shit, by the way. Thank you for that. Lovely stuff. But yeah, that was the last post that they had. And again, I don't know what they were trying to show, because the main point was the fact that Studio Pierrot changed like a bunch of stuff that made Sakura seem like a worse character. But the stuff they showed, I feel like those are such like little minuscule changes that wouldn't affect her character to such an extent. You get what I'm saying? Like, let's break it down a little bit more, right? The main biggest changes from like all the posts I've seen, because this Reddit user isn't the only one that I've seen. Like, I've seen a bunch of other people talking about it, and they all bring up like the same two posts, which is the one about her giggling at him during the Chunin exam, and also the scene in the Land of the Wave arc where, you know, she saved him from the massive kunai, and that was removed in the anime. Those are the two main things that I've seen that Studio Pierrot has changed. Now, are these like big, huge, massive character changing things that was completely, you know, removed? No, it's not. It really isn't. Whether or not she pushed him out of the way doesn't change her character like that. And whether or not she giggled at him for, you know, struggling in the Chunin exam, the written part, again, it doesn't really change her character that much. Like, so I don't really know what they're trying to say. Like, maybe there's more stuff that I just haven't seen yet, but I've looked around, I've done my scrolling, I did a little bit of research here and there. Obviously, I didn't reread the entire manga and rewatch the entire anime and make a, you know, compare, contrast, because I'm not getting paid to do all that. Hell no, I don't have time for that. I have an essay to write. But yeah, I guess this is just one of the situations where, you know, Twitter and Instagram, they like took this kind of situation, they like kind of blew it up out of proportion, which I totally understand, because, you know, stuff like this is like funny. Oh my god, guys, we were in a genjutsu. Studio Pierrot completely like changed Sakura's character. It's funny. It's like clickbait or whatever. Like, I enjoyed watching those videos. I thought it was funny to see like the differences and stuff. But after doing like my own research and looking more into it, because hey, bitch is curious, I don't really think so. I don't really think that they made that huge of a difference as people are trying to claim. Now, again, if there's some real huge differences that I just haven't seen, let me see, you know? Because also, I feel like people like to think that this is the only time a studio has like changed something from the manga. Like there have been some animes where the studio completely like rewrote everything or just did their own shit. For like take Black Butler for example, right? Come to find out, Alois, he is not a character in the manga. That nigga is not there. He does not exist. Do you know how much that ruined me? He was one of my favorite characters in Black Butler, only for me to find out he's not even canon. They made that entire shit up. Alois and Cloud, they don't belong in the Black Butler universe. It ruined my mind. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, I guess when people were saying like Studio Pierrot, you know, made people hate Sakura like 10 times more than she deserved, I was expecting some Alois and Cloud level genjutsu, right? Because I fully believe that these were two canon characters for like 5 years until later my friend who reads the Black Butler manga told me like, them bitches ain't real. I cried a little bit. Just a little bit. So let's just be a little bit realistic, right? Studio Pierrot did not put us all in a genjutsu. Yes, they changed a few things here and there, but overall, even if you just read the manga, Sakura is still not a great character. You know, she has her moments. Yes, indeed. She has her moments where she actually like, you know, I give you your applause, period. But overall, she's still just an extremely poorly written character. Like, she's not well written. She's not well developed. In the beginning of Shippuden, I was actually excited because she had her whole fight with Sasori. And in the anime, they actually like extended the fight. Like, they made it longer in the sense that like there was more moments of her like throwing punches and shit. But in the manga, it was apparently really short. Which, again, you know, studios do that sometimes. They extend stuff. Like, take Jujutsu Kaisen, for example. You know, the scene with Nanami grabbing that one guy's ponytail. That shit did not happen like that in the manga. It did not look like that. Even with Pain and Naruto, like, when Hinata pulled up and was going to fight Pain, that shit lasted for one page. Like, one spread page. That was it. But in the anime, they gave her, like, was it what? 3-5 minutes. It was longer. So again, it's not the first time the anime, you know, adds a little something here and there. They might take a little away, a little something here and there, you know. It's not that deep. I feel like overall they did the best with what they could. And with what Kishimoto did with Sakura, again, what can you actually do? Like, okay, so let's say, you know, these scenes that were changed is one of the reasons why people really, really dislike Sakura. Like, they hated her because she never did anything and she was so fucking mean to Naruto. Because in the anime, they also added a lot of random scenes with her like punching him and slapping him for no reason, which is a trope that I personally don't like. I find that annoying whenever they make any character just start being under another character's ass for no reason. I find that annoying. Why you being my ass? What did I do? Whatever. So if like, for some people, if this is the reason why they really hated her and finding this out made them change their mind, all the power to you, my guy. All the power to you. I really don't care. If you love Sakura now, good for you. I am not here to stop anyone. You can like whoever you like. You can hate whoever you hate. I really don't give a fuck.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you,
We don't care.
But yeah, me personally, finding out these scenes were not like, you know, in the manga doesn't really change much for me. Because if I'm being honest, the moment that I really was like, oh yeah, I don't fuck with this girl whatsoever, was the scene where she confessed to Naruto. Now, if you pull up the manga panel and I reread the whole thing, right? And it turns out that apparently she didn't confess to him at all. She was just like, Naruto, you need to stop acting like this towards Sasuke and come back home. If that's all she said, then I'll be like, oh shit, I've been lied to this whole time by the anime. She never said, Naruto, I love you. Come back to the village because the guy that I like is a terrible person now. So why would I spend time liking a guy who doesn't even like me? Let me like you instead. As if Naruto was like a fucking second choice, which to her, he was. If I found out that this whole time it was all fake, then I'll be like, damn, okay, I have been in the genjutsu. But no, I read the manga for that section. It was real. She confessed her fake feelings, tried to play with him. Now, for some people, no, her intention was good. She just wanted to save him. boo-hoo. I don't care. I really don't care, because at the end of the day, you lied in the worst fucking way possible. You poisoned your teammates and left them lying on the ground so you can go find Sasuke and fight him by yourself, and then turn around and not even throw a single punch. So you put your teammates' lives at risk for no reason. I could justify everything if she actually fought him. If she actually stood on business and was like, I'm about to beat this nigga's ass. If she did that, I'll be like, you know what? I'll allow it. But she didn't do it. She backed up because no, I still love him. I can't. Boo-hoo, bitch. Oh, don't get me started. So yeah, that's the reason why I truly disliked her. In early Naruto, like when they're 12, I was like, she's not my favorite, but I don't really care. She's just there. Whatever. In the beginning of Shippuden, I was like, you know what? I'm a fan. Her fight with Sasori was pretty cool. You know, her and Granny Chio, they did their thing. Pretty cool. I don't see why people hate her so much. She's alright. Shippuden continues on. She doesn't really do much else, but again, pretty cool. She's a bit annoying. I'm starting to understand why people don't like her that much, because with each fight, she doesn't really do anything. But again, I was like, okay, whatever. I just don't like her. She's just not fun to watch. And then the confession happened, and I was like, fuck this shit. I'm done. I'm sick and tired. I'm done. I get it now. So that's just me personally. So if we find out that the whole confession thing was also a genjutsu, then yeah, my opinion on her will probably change. But for now, it stays the same. For anyone who changed their minds, again, I really don't care. If you like her, I love that for you. You know, I'm happy you're happy. Let me be a hater in peace. Thank you. That was fun. I feel good. I feel relieved. Like, just ranting without a script is it's freeing. It's very freeing. I will be back. I feel like I have a lot to say about My Hero Academia, so that's probably the next thing I'm going to rant about. Yeah, look forward to that. Okay, bye-bye.